Hey there, my friend. This is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi, and I want to welcome you back to another episode here on the Fit Father Project podcast. And boy, do we have an amazing episode for you today because we are joined by one of our own Fit Father brothers, Mike Meisner. He's 58 years young from Pennsylvania, and over the past 5 months, Mike has used our Fit Father 30X program series, phase 1, 2, and he's currently in phase 3. He's dropped 17 pounds, 13 of those fat. He's been building muscle. He's learned how to exercise properly. He's dialed in a sustainable nutrition plan, and he's just really on fire. He feels so aligned with himself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And this is a really cool conversation because Mike shares about how profound this program has changed him. And in fact, he is now at the same weight he was when he was in basic training in the Army like 30 years ago. And so it's possible, knocking at the door of 60 years old, to be in great shape. Mike has abs. He has veins now. He's fired up about his training. He's looking for ways to optimize. And now Mike has this energy and zest to look forward into his future, to see what kind of service that God is calling him forward to do in his life. And that's the energy. That's the vital force that we can all cultivate with the right habits. And it's just so clear that Mike is doing this, and we can all draw a lot of inspiration from him. And also, he shares some really practical tips for if you're a guy that ever needs to travel for work. Like Mike's a busy guy, still has a very busy career. I mean, he's doing some military aerospace program director. So he's traveling all over the place, and he's figured out how to make their program work with him in all these different scenarios. Workouts in hotel gyms, bring these kinds of snacks, Ezekiel bread sandwiches. He covers a lot of practical stuff in here too. So buckle up. This is an amazing episode with a lot of inspiration, a lot of practical tips. And let's get into today's episode with Fit Father Mike from Pennsylvania. All right, Mike, welcome officially to the Fit Father Project podcast, my friend. I'm so happy to have you here.
Great. It's great to be here and talk to you today. So thanks for having me.
Nice. So let's kick things off. A little introduction about you, your name, your age, where you're from, and anything you'd like to share about your family and what you do for work.
Okay, great. Yeah. Mike from upstate Pennsylvania, 58, married for 28 years this year to the love of my life. We have 2 boys, James and John. One of them has left the house, and one of them is on his way, permanent job, benefits. So he's getting there. Yeah. Nice. 25 and 27. So, yeah. Nice.
And for work, what's your career? I mean, I just saw from the podcast, I didn't take form, and I think it's very interesting. So I just want to make sure it's noted if you're open to sharing.
Yeah. So I've been working since the military and going to school on the GI Bill. I've been working in military aerospace, defense industry. Started as an engineer, and then now I'm a program manager, nearing program director kind of thing. So multiple programs. We do flight and engine controls for military airplanes and commercial. So it's been a great career, 31 years this year. So really blessed to have a job that many years.
Seriously.
Yep. And it's really rewarding work. Still get to contribute to the warfighter and their mission, and feel like I'm making a difference.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
it was really cool. And thank you for all that you do behind the scenes. And for me, it just seems like there's a lot of mystique and mystery. I'm deeply impressed by anyone who is mechanically and engineering oriented. And my best friends are actually named James and John, and one of them is a mechanical engineer. And so I just thought it's a lot of strings related to like your life and stuff like that. So
sure.
And some of your hobbies, which I know you're also an avid outdoorsman and you like to do stuff. So like you tell a little bit about that, please.
Yeah. So me and my wife both hike. That's how we met. She was a volunteer coordinator at our nature center, and I was one of her volunteers. So it went a little beyond that. But yeah, I mean, we do a lot of hiking. We do a lot of outdoor things. We've been to Alaska 6-7 times. Mm-hmm. We enjoy kayaking. We have, I'm at our lake cottage. We do, tons of outdoor stuff here, hiking, fishing, boating, sailing, we've had a really blessed life, I guess the right way to say it. And,
nice.
Physically been able to get out and do that stuff. As you age, you find little tweaks in your body that may not want to keep up with what your mind thinks it could do. But
for sure,
the Father Project has really taken me quite a ways in 5 months, and feel pretty confident about this summer and this fall being able to do things a little better than maybe I had in the past.
Heck yeah. I love to hear that. And 5 months. So take us back. What prompted you to find us or like look for a program? Give us
Sure.
a little bit of the origin story of how you started.
Yeah, I'll start back in 21 because I had a false start that year. My mom got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in February, and so we kind of reverse roles. So my mom had been a hospice nurse as her career, and now she was in hospice. And my mom gave me my faith. Really was a great mom. Kind of an inspirational story with her, and so taking care of her through that period of time and was difficult. She lived about 3.5 hours away. And so me and my brother would tag team a week at a time, living with her, bringing our spouses, taking care of her, and very stressful, we tried to keep the stress away from my mom and take it, but working full time remote and taking care of my mom, kind of, how it goes when, people love somebody else, they bring food, they bring a lot of alcohol, they bring a lot of things. Yeah. And I found that I was dealing with my stress, in probably all the wrong ways, eating whatever I wanted to, and, consuming wine and beer when it was available. And, by the time my mom went to heaven in July, then I was her trustee. So I had 7 beneficiaries that, I had to go through and liquidate. So I really didn't get a chance to mourn. I was kind of in charge of everything. But October of 21, I was on Facebook, I think, and saw Fit Father. I saw a picture, of a guy that had lost probably 100 pounds. I was like, wow, that's amazing. I started to do some research. And what I would tell any brothers out there that maybe on the fence about trying it, there's a lot of free stuff on YouTube. You can go out there and look. I think you sent me the meal plan, 1-day meal plan, and some other resources. And I started to do it just on my own. I was like, wow, this kind of makes sense. I'm going to try it. And I lost probably 20 pounds in 2 months. And I was in really good shape. Got Omicron at the end of the year. And it kind of threw me for a loop. And then, one thing led to another. And it got me back through 22 to October. And I said, you know what? This is an eighth of the cost of one doctor visit. I think I'm going to try the whole thing and see what it does. And I was just amazed. I've been, I said in some of the things that I've written, I've been on every diet. Since I got out of the Army, I was probably 150. I've been on shake diets. I've been on low carb diets. I've been on go to meetings, weigh your food diets. You probably know what they all are.
Yeah.
And some of they would work for a period of time, but it wasn't something sustainable, and none of them were holistic. They didn't include the muscle strength and endurance along with eating correctly that this program has. And that's the thing that I think it just amplifies the benefit. It's just amazing how it works. So
nice. I
really
totally
impressed
agree.
by it.
I'm glad you're impressed, and I deeply. It makes me so happy that you found this holistic, because that certainly was the intention in designing this. And what was after you lost the 20 pounds initially in the free 1-day meal plan, and I know you've gotten as high as 190. Your military weight was on 150. Right. Where are you at right now?
143.
Holy crap! Really?
And my goal in October last year was 145. I was at about 160. I could see myself creeping back in the wrong direction. I was like, I got to do something different. And so I said, hey, 145 is about where I was when I got out of basic training, which was the most intensive physical exercise I've ever had. I still ate incorrectly. The Army feeds you. That's one thing about the military is they feed you maybe 5,000-6,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
And so, if you continue that without all the physical exertion, right, it just amplifies and you just kind of balloon up. And college was a big one for me. After getting out of the Army, there was a lot of stress, tests, studying. And so by the end of even college back in 92, I was probably back up around 180, 190. And, again, go on the shake diet and then go on this diet and go on another one. But the combination of Fit Father, the thing that I like the most about it is that the strength training is you really underestimate it in the beginning. I've done triathlon training, where I'm swimming a mile, I'm running half marathon, I'm, biking 55 miles. it's not really the same type of exercise. You're kind of turning your body through doing strength and muscle endurance is what I call the MRT workouts. You're turning yourself into this incredible metabolizing fat burning machine, which is, it's really interesting. And it doesn't take a lot of time. My wife started getting on a weight loss kick again in January after seeing the results that I got out of this. It's like everybody eats Ezekiel bread in our house now. It's funny, but she'll do yoga with me. We have, cardio flow yoga that we do a few times a week. She's actually tried, Apex. She's tried Double Trouble.
Nice.
She actually did the first, I can't even remember the name of it, but the first MRT at phase 3 with me, the assault, which I just did this morning. So she is right there with me. We've gotten a lot of more dumbbells and weight benches and things to help us along the way, but she's lost 27 pounds and I've lost 17 so far. So yeah, I don't know where it's going to end. It's like I keep getting leaner. I'm like, wow. Even in the Army, I can see veins. I can see my abs again. It's pretty incredible.
That's got to feel good. And I mean, especially knocking on the door of 60. I don't want to date you, but I think it's pretty badass that you have veins now in your arms and you're leaned up like right at the door of 60. I think it's important for people to see what's possible, especially with that 60 number being like what many people consider the threshold of how old. And you seem like you're getting better than the past few years.
Yeah, and I thought about it, retirement may be in the future for me at some point, but retirement would be doing a different career where I can, help people full time and, Samaritan's Purse or actually friends of ours yesterday, they said, hey, we just thought of you. We just got back from Uganda. We're doing an irrigation project and you guys need to come with us in 2 years. And we're like, all right, so I don't know what God's preparing me for right now, but it's interesting, looking at your story, I think it was pretty inspiring. It is to a lot of the brothers, the fact that you took a terrible event from your childhood and God has kind of led you through this process of being a bodybuilder, being a medical doctor, all the fitness and all of the nutrition that goes into that. And I think it's his will that you're doing this. It's like a ministry, whether you believe that or not. I do.
I believe it fully. It's become more clear to me for sure. And I know you feel the same way, that you're being guided by a higher power. We're going to call God here to we're going to call God. Yeah. To live the best life possible. And I'm humbled when other people get to come here into FFP that have discovered the same truths that I have, because then it makes you like, this is all God's will.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah. I think, one of the things that I kind of looked at, I'm a person of faith, and these earthly bodies are a temple of the Holy Spirit. They were bought at a price. That's Jesus Christ's blood on the cross. He bought us. And so I think we have some responsibility for taking care of what he's given us so that we can go out and do whatever his will might be tomorrow, And, I don't want to make this something religious, because it really isn't. It's faith, there's a difference between faith and religion. But, my faith is, I don't know what God's preparing me for next. My sister's got, it's like non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I know one of the doctor visits, she said they're wondering if a bone marrow transplant might help me. And I thought, okay, I might be a match. Let me get tested. And maybe maybe I'm doing Fit Father because my bone marrow needs to be healthy.
Yeah.
I have no idea. What's in the cards for me, but it's fun to see it unfold. Yeah. You find out years later what God's plan is for your life. So
for sure. And that sense of energy and vitality that you do have to respond is like what these habits create. So I want to kind of zone in on the stuff that's worked for you. Let's start with nutrition. Like when you picked up the Fit Father meal plan, you start reading this thing through. Like, what stood out to you? What immediate changes did you make? And what were any big aha moments? And also just talk about your nutrition routine.
Sure. Yeah. The water is obviously shocking to some people, maybe that don't drink that amount of water, but you can kind of ease into it. I mean, if there's somebody listening that's on the fence, I would say just do the first 30 days, phase one of 30X, and do it to the best of your ability and take things on as you're ready for them, right? So the water, I have a water bottle that I take. I know I need to have 4 of them a day. I think my first water in the morning that I do the Beam minerals,
Nice.
fulvic and humic.
I do too.
And it basically, hearing the podcast was very helpful for me. The absorption through your cell membrane for all the supplements that I was taking, that I still take, it kind of makes you feel like, okay, I'm not wasting my money on taking all these supplements because I'm getting the benefit out of it. Plus the trace minerals that are in the B minerals. So I put it in my water.
Yep.
My wife is doing it now as well. And it definitely, I noticed a difference in about a week. Maybe the first week I could tell just energy. I felt like I wasn't getting any headaches anymore. Even when I'm fasting, I noticed a difference because I would get headaches when I was fasting, and I did the Himalayan salt or whatever, in there to get rid of it. But with the B minerals every day, I don't have it. But the water's tough, you got to get used to it. But once it's a habit, just like the first 30 days of 30X, once you make it a habit, you don't even think about it anymore. It's like I get up, I have my water, my first water, fill my water bottle for whether I'm doing a workout, which is great because I drink at least half of the second bottle in the workout.
Yeah.
And then take it to work. And then I felt I need 2 more. And usually by early afternoon, I've got 4 in me, and that's about 80 ounces. So I'm pretty good.
Nice.
But breakfast, I usually wait till 9:30. The intermittent fasting makes a difference, even in 30X, when you start doing the 9:30 breakfast, pushing it out a little bit. That will help you kind of get your body used to what it feels like to do that. And you get in the habit of that. Yeah. And then I can't remember if it was phase 2 when we started the 24-hour.
Phase 2.
But like I do it on Sunday, like you had recommended in the video. Sunday is better for me. Saturday night right now is a free meal on phase 3. So it's like, okay, I'm going to have, I might have a beer. I might have a slice of pizza, something like that, a little bit of added carbs. But then Sunday, I cut wood last Sunday.
Nice.
I was amazed. Usually I was like, I'm going to sit around. I'm not doing yoga. I'm not going to do anything today so that I have energy and I don't get hungry. I was out cutting wood, moving wood all day. And I was working up a sweat. And I'm like, I'm taking credit for a workout.
Yeah, for sure.
And, but yeah, I made it fine to dinner time. So the Shane, I think, is one of the best resources I found on Facebook. But Shane was
Shane Dixon is who he's referring to. If you're not on Facebook, he's one of our vets. And shout out to Shane. He deserves more than one shout out, but for sure.
Yeah. So, he said, okay, you got the 24-hour. It's no big deal. The 72 hours, no big deal. When you're ready for it, it'll just happen. Don't worry about it. And Shane is a very successful fed father. So, it's good advice. I think, shout out to Jim, Ron. These guys included me in Strava challenges, the last 5 months. Ben, I hadn't been doing any of the Q&As, and all I did was just look at one of his last week's Q&A, and I was like, man, I should have been doing this for 5 months. Okay, I'm going to start doing this then when I have a question. Anyway, great resources out there for you. Yeah. Facebook page, I would just as a must. I would say don't be ashamed to put your pictures out there. At first I kind of hid my picture. I took it. I would recommend you taking it, even if you don't feel comfortable posting it. Take your picture, have it on your iPhone or whatever, and then you're going to see results even in 30 days. Take the next picture, post it. Everybody out there is positive. I don't think I've heard anything negative ever in any of the posts. I've read hundreds of them. Everybody will support you. Just amazing. My uniform, I know you looked at the uniform picture, right? 40 years I hadn't worn that uniform, been able to button the button. And, I met vets. There were tons and tons of vets out there and other guys that were like, oh my gosh, I couldn't fit in my BDUs again, and it's like, don't say never, because if you do this project, you will definitely get there.
Well, on that note, like let's talk a little bit. Have you any mindset changes? Like it sounds like you know probably from your background, your work, military history that you've had. I'd say maybe a strong mindset. But have you noticed any mental, emotional changes as you've kind of gone through this journey of making physical changes over the last 5 months?
Yeah, definitely. And what's interesting is that I can't explain all of it, but the mental, physical, and spiritual tie-in of all this together has definitely improved who I am. I call it making a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
You're challenging yourself. You're not competing with anybody else. You're competing with where you were yesterday. And, sometimes that's motivation enough to go, okay, I'm going to go do my workout. I need to do it. I need to get it done and go do it. After a while, once you're in a phase, you're going to get comfortable. And then the phase changes, and then there's new workouts to get, discomfort again. But again, in phase 3, I'm starting to be more comfortable with the assault, which you'll find out as you go through the project, the program. It's at first, it was very tough. I had a lot of hamstring issues afterwards. The first one, it took me about 4 days to recover from it, but Shane helped again. I posted my workout board, kind of like what you have in your videos,
Yep.
of what each exercise is and how many of them. And I posted it, and he had responded, but I had already gone downstairs to do the workout, and after I got up and I was just gassed, I call it the fit father fetal rest position. I was like, as I'm resting, I'm in, child pose on my mat, trying to get air. And he said, pace yourself, and I said, I wish I had read this before I had started it. Yeah. Said, pace yourself. I go for 6.5, 7 minutes per cycle or evolution as I go through this. And, and then I rest. You got to take 2 minutes of rest, whether it's Apex or any of the other MRTs. But I never finished the diet. The Ezekiel bread, I call it the manwich.
Yeah.
Every day I take that to lunch. I was doing hard-boiled eggs. I have my wife, we have chickens, so we have lots of eggs. And I was taking 3 and eat them all as snacks and, some almonds. And that usually gets me through to come home for the perfect plate at about 6:30. But
Nice.
I have my cholesterol, or I did 2 years ago. I don't know if I do now until I do my blood work, and I'm kind of waiting until probably the end of phase 3 or sometime during phase 3. I want to go. It'll be kind of interesting to see what my numbers are.
I'll go on record. I'd be shocked if it's not improved, honestly, just with all this, with everything you've been doing. I mean, nutrition, exercise,
right.
All of this stuff positively impacts that. So I'm excited to hear about that as well.
Yeah, I'll definitely post it as a non-scale victory, I guess is the right way to say it. But I've eliminated a couple yolks a day just to be safe, and I just go with one egg yolk and then 3, good. 3 whites. And perfect plate is so much better than the other plans that I've been on. I've made jokes on the Facebook page about, Dr. A doesn't specify altitude for my quarter of my meat. That could be an 8-ounce fillet that I stack up there.
That's a good point.
But I was joking. So I mean, carb days, right now I'm doing carb cycling. So Tuesday, Thursdays I try to eliminate all the carbs that I can. Almonds, I found out, have a lot of carbs in them, and so I've eliminated those on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Or walnuts, I like both of those as kind of snack food. So, but today is Friday, so it's a full Fit Father meal day.
Nice.
And so I had my Ezekiel bread manwich, which is, one of the things we do is we take avocados and we let them get really ripe.
Yep.
And then we pull that out, and it's better than butter now to me. I love to spread avocado on each side of the bread, tomatoes, lettuce, sprouts, you can put all kinds of vegetables on there, and then throw my turkey or chicken. My wife will boil up chicken breasts every week and have them ready in the refrigerator so we can just put chicken breast on it or turkey or whatever. And I really look forward to eating that 2:30. But it's today is the day I get to eat. So tomorrow tomorrow night, one of the things that's cool about the program is the free meal. I think it started in phase 2, but I can't remember. I didn't do it a lot. Now I'm doing it. We're going out with friends to a brewery, right? So I know this brewery well from past history, and they have a quinoa with like ahi, seared tuna.
Nice.
I know what I'm having already, and I'll have one of their beers and something light, and and then that'll be my free meal, so I can act like a human, like everybody else,
Yeah.
and nobody questions, my diet
Yeah.
at all.
That's awesome. I mean, that's what it's all about, integration, right? I mean, integration
Right.
in our own being and experience, but also integration with our social circles, with our life and our family. And like, you've clearly found a way to do it all. And that's what I think which makes it sustainable. And I'm pretty sure you agree with that.
Yeah. One thing that's interesting is travel. I've talked to a bunch of guys that do travel for work. The perfect plate is really flexible, and that's what I like about it. I've been in restaurants where it's like they're offering me the Wagyu strip or whatever it is, and I'm looking at the fat on it, and I was like, filet. I could do the filet for a quarter of my plate. I could do the grilled Brussels sprouts for, a quarter of my plate. And then I could have a large salad, and I could have a beer. And, nobody questions what I'm doing, but I can stay on the plan very easily. I take super fuel. Like if I'm on a 3 or 4 day trip, I'll take a scoop a day of super fuel in a container in my luggage. I've gotten through TSA, no problem, and I put on it what it is so that they don't question it.
Not drugs. I swear this is protein powder.
That's right. The Quest bars, I'll get a box of Quest bars, and I'll have at least one per day because, lunch may be brought in at a customer site or something like that, and it might be Panera, it might be something else that I just really don't want. Sometimes you don't get the choices that you want. You might be able to eat the salad, but nothing else, and it's like, I don't really want it anyway, because it becomes, after you start to make progress, what you're going to find is like, I don't really want I don't want the slice of pizza. It's just, I don't want to stalemate myself. I want to continue to make progress. I could be completely satisfied eating something else, but, I'll take the Quest bars as an emergency, especially planes. If you're on an airplane and it's breakfast, it's 9:30, it's time to eat. I'm not going to have hard-boiled eggs, so I'll take a Quest bar and I'll eat that. And, there are some other things about travel. The gyms, I know the gyms at every hotel now. I know exactly what they got. I know which workouts I'm going to do. You could do, Apex and Basic 5 from phase 1. I could get those in. I could do yoga in my room. Nobody sees me doing that. And, I can continue on the plan. I've talked to a couple guys that maybe were out for weeks. That might become more difficult. And, but, water is another thing. Go to the front desk, get as much as they'll give you, as many bottles as they'll give you. It's about 6 to 7 bottles a day, to get your water, and you just look for opportunities to get it in. Dinner out, I'll definitely have a giant glass of water or two to make sure that I'm getting it all in. But once you make it a habit, it becomes very second nature. And you start to strategize, okay, I'm going to be in this situation. How am I going to stay on the plan? And but that's what I love about it. It's very flexible. It can fit whatever part of your life you may have challenges with. I have, done free meals. The first couple that I did, they were bad. And I felt it afterwards. I was like, wow, I don't really want to do that again. My body rejected it. It just was like, no, this is not good for you. And you're going to feel it. I did. So
we don't state that explicitly in the program material, but that's always my hope is like, after you start feeling so good, when you reintroduce those foods and you have like a big reaction, bloated, tired, feel like crap. And it's like, it's kind of like whips you with a little bit of a stick being like, whoosh, is it worth it? And like kind of, but over time less. Like your version of a free meal now is having a beer with some ahi, tuna, and quinoa, which would be someone's version of a healthy meal. So it's like you recalibrate over time, and that's awesome. It's natural. It's not like you learn this all through your own direct experience, not because someone told you, but you figured it out.
Yeah.
We told you some stuff, but like you figured it out through your direct experience, which makes it so much more salient. It's real learning. It's your life now.
I think you learn from your body too.
Yeah.
I mean, the workouts, especially, you give workarounds in a lot of areas where, I've got injuries that, will probably be with me until I get resurrected. So there are workarounds in there that, like today I had some hamstring issues with the squat thrusts, one of the exercises, and I felt it. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do on the next round? I'm going to do 10 mountain climbers, then I'm going to do 10 upright rows, then I'm going to go do my 20 mountain climbers instead of doing the squat thrust. So the heart rate was up, and I did my full workout, and I got it in a different way, and I didn't have to push my hamstring. So
Smart.
Now yoga tomorrow, and work on the hamstrings and try to loosen them up. But,
love it.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, have your boys watched you go through this, and what have they said? I mean, it's got to be pretty crazy for them in their 20s to see you like getting like great shape. Like what kind of comments have they made?
Yeah, so my son that's at home is 25, and he's always been in pretty good shape. He was a fishing guide in Alaska. He's kind of like a wild kid, out in the woods, hunting, fishing, he really has eaten well, and he's in good shape. But, the Ezekiel bread, he takes that every day for lunch.
Nice.
He makes the manwich. He's lifted with me before. I'm trying to get him, involved, but he usually leaves for work. He starts at 6 at work, so he's up before me, and then I'm usually getting ready to work out, and he's out the door. But, I'd like to get in the gym with my son and, at least have him kind of follow through with some of the workouts. That's one thing I would say is the workouts have taught me how to lift weights correctly with correct body mechanics in the past. I've lifted since I was 10 years old. The sand, 110-pound sand set, right? That I begged for that. And I was doing clean and jerks with my buddies, and in my bedroom. But I've never really done things correctly, and that leads to injury. It leads to a lot of problems, which makes you stop doing it, which, and if you don't do the reps correctly, you don't do the supersets correctly. These are all the things that I've been learning. You could tell that you were a bodybuilder because, I'm like, wow, yeah, this is like what bodybuilders do, this kind of stuff. This is why this works. Yeah. If I did 225 for one rep in the Army on the bench, I would be like pounding my chest, and great job. And what is that?
Yeah.
The form stunk. I had to have somebody help me get it up to the rack.
Right, right.
Now I'm happy with, I'm up to 40s, I think. 35s, nice. I did in 40s on the new bench, and I could feel it. I mean, when I get to 10 or 15 reps, the muscle's exhausted. I'm doing it correctly. Yeah. My shoulder doesn't hurt. The mechanics are everything, and I can't afford to injure myself. I really don't want to do it. So the mechanics mean everything. I would say, if you're struggling in the beginning, lighten the weight up or use no weight. You could do Apex with no weights, just your body weight.
Yep.
Doing squats with your body weight, doing push-ups with your body weight. I mean, it's still going to be an incredible workout. And then to go to 10s, that's, I think I started with 10s, and check your ego at the door. Lots of brothers have said that. I do that every time. It's like, I do not want to get hurt. Today, I upped the weights on the assault.
Nice.
For the deadlifts because I felt like I could without an injury, and making sure that I keep my form. Squatting and deadlifting are two of the things that I have to just make sure that I'm spot on with form. Bench press, declining the bench slightly like you recommended in the beginning is very helpful for the shoulders.
Yep.
So I've learned how to lift weights correctly, I think is the best way to say it. And it is you don't need a lot of weight to really improve your strength, to improve your flexibility, and then to improve your body's metabolism. I think, that's the biggest thing that you don't see is I could see the cutaneous fat, I guess, Dr. A, you tell me.
Yeah, the subcutaneous fat, yeah.
Yeah, the subcutaneous fat, I don't know how much of it I've been carrying around my organs.
Oh, the visceral fat around the organs, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like now I know that I'm burning it because
Yeah.
my weight's going down and the size of my strength has gone up. And I don't know if it's just noticing that I have muscles now, but because there's not fat there, but I have a feeling that my body weight is shifting from, I'm still losing fat, but I think I'm gaining some muscle weight. And
For sure.
I plateau, I've been plateauing, but it's still about half a pound to a pound every week or two. So
Nice.
it's it slows down as you get, close to your target, but I can't tell you what my target's going to be. I may be 140, I may be 145.
Yep.
After old school muscle, I may be, 146,
Yeah.
48. I don't know what it'll be at the end, but, it's kind of a fun journey. And it's like, wow, I have a stomach and I have abs now.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's pretty cool. Yep.
That's super cool.
Really enjoyed it.
And I bet you do get that joy every day. Whenever you get a chance to take a shower, you get out and you get to look in the mirror and see
Right.
a body that you feel proud of.
Right.
And like that's something that you earned, and something that a lot of guys listening probably aren't there yet, but like you can. And like I'm happy that you get to experience that. And it probably is another incentive to like keep on the rails and stay there.
Right. Before this, the last 5 months, I would put my glasses on for shaving and not look,
Yeah.
and scale, that's another thing is when you're really on, I don't mind weighing myself every day. My wife does as well. We got a really good scale. As soon as we get up in the morning, especially before you drink your water,
Yeah.
you want to just, we write it on the calendar every day.
Nice.
She writes hers at the top. I write mine at the bottom. And for the last, several months, we've both been tracking our weight every day. And sometimes you'll jump, right? You'll jump up a pound, you'll jump up 2 pounds, and you'll be like, what did I do? And it's like, really, your water, which is, I don't know, 90% of your body,
Yeah.
Your water may be retained one day and may not be the next day, and you'll see these fluctuations. But overall, it's the trend to look at, not day to day, but look week to week.
Yep.
And you'll see the progress. I mean, it's like, especially guys just starting out, I mean, just do it to see that initial weight loss, which is amazing, right? I think I lost maybe 10 pounds in the first couple of months. And then, it's been 7 pounds since then, but it's always the hardest, the small bits of fat that I've lost that it's hard. You got to make sure that you're aerobic. You got to do the HIIT training, which is why I'm committed to add that in, get 5 workouts, but make sure that you have a HIIT, 2 MRTs and a strength workout.
Nice.
And, and then I fill the gaps with yoga, and the yoga has been super beneficial. I really have to loosen up. It's been getting better, but the like the cardio flow, like our vinyasa or whatever they call it, that kind of yoga is really, really super for you. You're doing dynamic and static stretching kind of together, and it's aerobic. You get your heart rate up and sweat, and it helps you be strong and flexible, which go together. They can't do one without the other.
Nice.
I don't know if you've ever read Goggins at all, but the David Goggins, he's like a super athlete. Like he pushes the limits of what a human body can do, and our mind as well. And he had a problem because he was inflexible, and that was like stopping his progress. And he just stopped everything he was doing, all this training, and just worked on flexibility. Once he got that, then he was back on the log or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So, that's kind of my goal in coming and talking to you today, is hopefully that there'll be somebody out there that needed to hear this, and maybe it'll give them enough inspiration to just go and try the first 30 days, because you're going to be amazed at what will happen. You'll want to do the next phase. You're going to want to do the next phase. When I got a discount on Lifetime, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get old school muscle after this, So it's not what you think it is. Just try it, and the results are going to speak for themselves. You just do it.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And I know people are going to be inspired by this. Like I certainly am. And on that note, I have 2 questions for you. One, where do you see yourself in 10 years? So you're going to be knocking on the door of 70. Like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? with your life, with your body? I mean, likely in retirement and maybe digging wells in Ethiopia, but like TBD. But like, tell me what do you see in 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years, if God still has me on the earth, I want to be doing his will, and I want to be physically fit as I possibly can. I don't want to be on medications. I don't want to be on a statin or high blood pressure medicine. I want to be physically fit enough to be able to go out and do things with my family. Maybe I'll have grandkids at that time. I want to be able to, to live life to its fullest every day. That was one of the things that I was going to mention is every morning I go through my gratitude journal, and I recommend it for anybody. List 5 things that you're grateful for. And, I've talked to people that'll say, well, I can't think of anything I'm grateful for. I'm like, well, do you have your eyesight? If somebody offered you $1 million right now for your eyes, would you take it? And they probably not do that. I think every day is a gift. I had an experience in the military where we lost 248 people in one day in a plane crash, and 19, 20-year-old people going home for Christmas. They thought, that they were going to be with their families, and that was their last day. So,
Dang.
You got to treat every day like it's your last day. And I start with gratitude, and it focuses me in on what I am blessed to have and what I want to achieve. And I recommend that for anybody. It changes your complete mental picture for the day. And if your health matters, even if you're not feeling like you're healthy right now, give gratitude for your health, because you're alive, right? You're breathing, and that's one of the things that motivated me to stick with the program and make sure that I am on task every day. What am I doing today? What's my plan for the week? What's my accountability? But 70 years old, if, I'd love to be as active as I am today, maybe more active.
Yeah.
I love Samaritan's Purse and their mission. Right now they're in Mississippi. I would love to be retired and be able to go out there, whenever they call. They have some things where they need program managers, which, hey, that's what I've been doing 31 years. So, you deploy wherever they need you to deploy, and, you could serve God and, share the gospel with people that need it the most. And, that's really what I think I would be so rewarding to be able to do that.
I love it. I see a vision. Whatever comes to pass will come to pass, and that's inspiring. And my final question for you is, now that you've gone through this up to this point, what does it mean to you to be a fit father?
Well, I think, I have a responsibility to my wife to be there for her as long as possible, to be able to do things with my wife and with my 2 boys. I believe that I need to be accountable for what I eat and what I drink and what activities I'm doing, and I just want to spread the word to other people that may be in the same position I am. You can change. It's all about choice, right? Everything you are confronted with every day is you can make a choice, right? A good choice or a bad choice. And I think that, being a fit father is a responsibility that I think all men that are in this position have, right? To be a strong father, to be a strong spouse, to be a strong leader, which I believe all of us are called to be. It starts with your mental, physical, and spiritual health. And this has been really unifying for me to do this program. And I can't wait to see what I look like at 70, because I've seen some pictures of some 70-year-olds that are like, man, that guy's ripped. He's 70 years old and he's ripped. I'd love to look like that. So, yeah, I think it's really a great journey, and I'm happy to be here.
Mike, what a conversation. Thanks for coming on and sharing all this. Like, this was so good. So good. And it's my pleasure to know you. I'll speak from my lens of things. I say this often, and I feel it every single time I'm on these types of conversations. Like, I am so deeply humbled that you are here with me on this conversation, that you use this program that me and my team built, and it's been so pivotal for you, like integrating all these aspects of your life. Like, you are blessing me by all of this and the brotherhood through sharing this. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, my team's heart, for being a Fit Father, for being one of our lifetime members. We have a lot of good stuff coming down the road, and I'm just grateful to know you, Mike. I appreciate you for coming on today.
Same here, Dr. A. I firmly believe God put you in my path like he has done with other people for a reason at the right time when I needed it. So
thanks so much, Mike.
Stay on point. Yeah. Grateful for you.
Grateful too.